Alright, welcome all you guys to the first week of the NPL Minors. This week I play against Magick, coach of the FC Popplio. He has a super threatening squad with, as you can see, Mega Kangaskhan, Excadrill, Thundurus T, Roserade, Lomomola, Mimikyu, Landorus T, Gigalith, Como-O, Sneasel, Rufflet, and Magearna. Obviously he has the sand offense, which I think is super threatening to my team. I don't have a great switch in. My grass type only has, 72 base defenses, something like that. And grass types are the best counter to sand offense. It's going to be a little bit difficult dealing with his threats, but I think my walls should have a fine time dealing with them. As you can see, the mons I chose to bring ended up being Zapdos, Hoopa Unbound, Porygon 2, Decidueye, Milotic, and Dugtrio. I will go into exactly why I brought those mons. Zapdos is my main counter to Mega Kangaskhan. I wouldn't even call it a counter, just a check, because I still pretty much died +2 per turn, but I have 248 HP, 252 defense, 8 speed F, with a Rocky Helmet and the static ability with Roost, Roar, HP Ice, and Heat Wave. Roar is basically just for Mimikyu. If it decides to attack me, then I get Rocky Helmet damage and hopefully static. If it decides to set up, I roar it out, get some more rocks damage on it, hopefully, if I do have rocks up. And HP Ice is there so that Thundurus can't set up on me, or it can try to set up on me, but it's also I live any one hit from Landorus and can kill with an HP Ice. Not kill it, but do a massive amount of damage. And I do plenty of damage to Como-O as well, just there. So things that could set on, because I didn't want to have Thunder Wave because there are plenty of things. He has so many resistances and immunities on his team that it actually let less things set up if I brought HP Ice instead. And Heat Wave is there for Excadrill. It's a clean 2 KO on that. Second mon is Hoopa Unbound. I brought a Scarf set this week. Most of his mons after rocks, or not, some of them not even after rocks, just drop to Scarf Hyperspace Fury. Obviously Mimikyu is a problem, but once Mimikyu's disguise is broken, I don't die to +2 Shadow Snake. I need to live one of those, and outside of Sand, none of his mons outspeed me, besides maybe a Scarf Thundurus or a Scarf Excadrill. So that has some sweeping potential this week. I plan to remove Kangaskhan early with the Zapdos set. If he tries to set up too early with Power Up Punch, he'll be forced in a position where either he'll be at half and it'll be a sack, because it's not a super fast mon, or he'll just have to trade his Kangaskhan for my Zapdos, which I'm totally fine doing, since Zapdos' main role this week is to shut down the Kangaskhan. Third mon on my team is Porygon 2. This is a max speed F set, here to counter the Thundurus. I'm not 2 KO'd by Superpower. I'm not 2 KO'd by, I believe, Z-Move. Well, not Z-Move Focus Blast, but Focus Blast from a Thundurus, which can carry Z-Moves. I can deal with Nasty Plot because he goes for Nasty Plot on the switch. I don't die at +2 Focus Blast, and I can hit it really hard with Ice Beam and revenge it with any of my, with Dugtrio or with Hoopa Unbound. So this is going to be one of my main walls this week. I can take hits from most of his attackers, and it's definitely going to be my main switch into Thundurus. I knew he would probably bring Thundurus this game, so they don't have a great... My only ground type is... Well, my ground types are Stunfisk and Dugtrio, and Stunfisk is awful this game because he has sand offense. Obviously, 2 ground types on his side that can just switch in and OHKO. Especially Excadrill. Stunfisk has a bad matchup against Excadrill for sure. So, Porygon 2 is going to be my main way to deal with Thundurus. Fourth one is Decidueye. I have a bulky leftover set with max HP, max defense, Impish, with Toxic Roost, Spirit Shackle, Defog. This is here for the Gigalith. I can switch into Gigalith at any time. I can take Stone Edge from any set. I'm immune to Explosion. I can if I get the Spirit Shackle off, I can stall out until Sand goes away without taking any damage, because I do outspeed, so even if he crits me with a couple Stone Edges, I can still heal the damage off. And finally, when Sand is over, I can go for Toxic and wear it down. Only issue for the set really is Kangaskhan, because I don't have a way to hit it besides Toxic, which isn't like a super damaging way. He still can, you know, go for crunches or ice punches and wear me down with that way, and I don't take him very well. Fifth mon is a Flame Orb Milotic with max defense. This is here for all of his sand offense. I can deal with Landorus really well, I can deal with Excadrill really well, I can deal with Rufflet well if he decides to bring that. I don't know why he would, but if he does decide to bring that, I deal with that. I can deal with Hoopa-U super well. I can deal with Kangaskhan decently if I'm already burned, and if I get a burn on it. And I deal with Sneasel really well, so I can wall the majority of his team with this mon, which is really nice. I have Scald, Ice Beam, Recover, and Toxic. Pretty standard Milotic set. And my sixth mon is Dugtrio. I am an Adamant set with Focus Sash, Arena Trap. I considered Sand Force for a while for this game, but I decided that trapping Gigalith and getting Sand over was the most imperative thing I was trying to do this match. So, also getting up rocks is pretty important for Hoopa, so I wanted Sash to be able to get the rocks up reliably. I have Earthquake, Stone Edge, Stealth Rock, Reversal, pretty standard stuff for Dugtrio, and I'm creeping Adamant Sneasel. So, let's get into the match. So, here, I see he brought pretty much the exact team I was expecting. I definitely expected Sand, because looking at my team, you don't really think of Flame Orb Milotic and think, wow, that's a really great switch into Sand, because Flame Orb Milotic just wasn't a thing in Gen 6 because of how much you took from the burn damage, but Flame Orb in Gen 7, obviously you're only taking 6%, so it's actually a really good way to deal with all that. So, yeah, pretty much the exact team I was expecting, so let's get into the battle. So, I decided to lead off with Decidueye, hoping to catch the lead Gigalith, but unfortunately he leads Thundurus. I can take Dark Pulse from this, but I don't want to, since all I have to hit it with is Uninvested Spirit Shackle and Toxic, which is not really what I want to be doing, especially if it's a sub or nasty plot Thundurus. So I just go straight out into my P2. I can take any hits that this thing wants to go for, just my dedicated counter. See, I trace the Volt Absorb, and all his electric moves will be healing me, so he'll have to hit me with either neutral non-stabs or with Focus Blast, which can miss. So, and doesn't even 2 KO anyway, or Superpower, which lowers his attack and lets me recover on the second one. So he goes for Dark Pulse, does nothing. He sees that I'm Spit F, so he switches out, goes into Gigalith. He's hoping to set up the sand and set up rocks. I just go for the Ice Beam. I don't want to risk anything versus this Gigalith. I get a crit. Doesn't really matter later in the match, but you know, sucks for him anyway. So I just go into Decidueye, my dedicated counter for this, as he just goes for Toxic, which is kind of annoying because now if I Toxic him, we'll both die on the same turn. Well, I guess he'll die before me because I have Roost, but it's going to be kind of annoying him because when he starts either spamming rocks or Stone Edge, his Stone Edge is going to be doing more than my Spirit Shackle, and I'll have to choose whether to Roost, go for Defog, or to attack the Gigalith each turn, depending on if rocks are up. So it's just going to be kind of an ordeal trapping this now that I'm Toxic. So a very good bring on his part. So I just go for the Spirit Shackle, hoping to trap this thing in. I'm fine trading Decidueye here for Gigalith, because it means no sand for Excadrill, no sand for Sandforce Landorus. But he makes a smart play, switches out to Kangaskhan as I go for Spirit Shackle. He's obviously immune, and now I'm forced to switch to Zapdos or sack something else off. So obviously the play is to switch to Zapdos, as my opponent just goes for a power-up punch. I get a ton of Rocky Helmet damage off on him. I get the Static Para, and he takes the second turn of sand damage. So he's already like at 50%, which is really nice for me. And now I can just go for Heat Wave, weaken it a little bit more, and put it in Rocky Helmet range. So Kangaskhan's down, big threat. I'm glad that thing's down. Totally fine trading Zapdos for it. Like, the main point of this game is me to trade my specifically tailored defensive threats like Zapdos and Decidueye for his offensive threats like Kangaskhan and Gigalith, and then have my walls like P2, Milotic be able to wall the rest of his team. Like Milotic can wall the Excadrill and Landorus, while P2 can wall the Thundurus, and then Hoopa-U can clean up whatever's left at the end of the game. So that's my game plan. So in that game plan, I'm totally fine with Zapdos going down. It would have been a nice counter to Mimikyu, but I can't keep anything around. I'd rather just weaken this Kangaskhan. So he goes down, I go down. It's double down. I send out Milotic. I'm hoping to catch either Excadrill or Landorus, or even Gigalith, because I'm sort of expecting him to think I would go Hoopa. So that tells me this is likely a Scarf Thundurus, because if Hoopa was my best play there, then, or even Dugtrio is probably an equally good play, because I can trap whatever he wants to go in. He can go into Excadrill, which I can OHKO with an EQ, and I have Sash to deal with that. So I'm thinking he's Scarf here, which means that Porygon 2 does an even better job of walling it. So I just go back out into Porygon 2 as he goes for a Thunderbolt, and I get my Volt Absorb. So that's great for me. So now he has to switch out as I just fire off an Ice Beam. He goes into Gigalith, I get another Ice Beam off. I'm slowly whittling this thing. Once it's dead and, sand runs out, then Excadrill doesn't do anything to the rest of my team. So hopefully we can get that thing dead before it does too much. So I just go back out into the Decidueye. I just want rocks off the field. I don't want Dugtrio's Sash to be broken. And luckily for me, he doesn't. In my opinion, he makes the wrong play, and he doesn't decide to spam rocks and wear me down to Toxic, because eventually, if I keep going for Defog, not wanting Dugtrio's Sash to be broken, and he just keeps clicking rocks, I'll eventually die to Toxic, and then my Defogger will be gone. And he won't have taken any damage in the process, so in my opinion, not the right play there, but I think he was a little bit worried about me going for Spirit Shackle and toxicking him and wearing him down, because he wanted to keep his sand around for his Excadrill and his Landorus. So I understand his play, I just don't agree with it, but that's just me. So I just defog the rocks away on the switch to Thundurus. This thing still can't kill me with anything, but I still want to keep my Decidueye around for defogging for Dugtrio, because I know Gigalith can still come in on Porygon 2 and set up rocks at any point. So I don't want that to happen. I just switch back out into P2 as my opponent just goes for the U-turn. Seeing U-turn, I'm pretty much sure it's a Scarfed Thundurus. That's just why they're just pretty much. Scarf Thundurus is more likely U-turn than Volt Switch, so that way ground types don't get momentum on it. So he goes out into Gigalith again, setting up sand for another 7 turns, unfortunately. And I just go back into Decidueye, not wanting rocks to be out. So here, I predicted to stay in and attack me, or either go for rocks or attack me. So I just Toxic this thing while it's in. So now it's on a timer. So I sort of outplay him a little bit there, but he just goes for EQ. I guess he didn't have Stone Edge on this, so it's good for me. So it's gonna be even harder for him to wear me down. So with Roost, I can still outstall this thing. So I just go for a defog here, wanting to get rid of the rocks, and he switches out. So now he has in Landorus. Since Gigalith is Toxic, it's no longer a super great defensive wall against my team. Most of my team can take it out. If it's not in the sand, the P2 can nearly take it out with an HP fighting. And Dugtrio obviously can take it out. Decidueye can roost up on it and all that stuff. And Milotic obviously outspeeds and deals a lot of damage with the Scald. So, and Hoopa-U can kill with a Drain Punch. So he goes into Landorus. I don't want to sack anything but this Decidueye off at this point, because the Gigalith is Toxic. So I just stay in. I die to an EQ. It doesn't tell me what his item is, because he can be any item, still be like Jolly, and he could be like Jolly Z move and still kill me with that there, just because it's super powerful to understand. So I just go into my Milotic. Here, I think I choke the game away, unfortunately. I'm Flame Orb, so I need a turn for Flame Orb to activate. After Flame Orb is activated, this Landorus can't kill me with a single move on its entire roster. I don't expect this Landorus to be a bulk upset, and even if it is, after my Flame Orb activates, it still won't be able to kill me with anything, and I can just go for an Ice Beam and take it out. But unfortunately, I don't go for Recover, because I'm expecting him to switch out to likely either Excadrill, Mimikyu, or Thundurus. Predicting an Ice Beam. Thundurus is at full health. It can take an Ice Beam and threaten me out. He can go for U-turn on the Porygon too, because that would be the play I would make, because I can afford to make that play. So I don't expect him to stay in here, because he knows that even in the sand he can't kill me. And he hasn't even seen Flame Orb yet, just regular, he can't kill me. So I don't expect him to stay in because, you know, I have Dugtrio, and Landorus is a great counter to Dugtrio, and it deals a ton to Porygon 2 in the sand, because he knows I'm a Spadef set. And he doesn't know Hoopa's Scarf yet, and this thing does take a Hyperspace Fury pretty easily. I have Ice Punch for it, but he doesn't know that yet. So he just goes for an Earthquake here. And if I had recovered, I think I just won the game on the spot. But unfortunately, that's not what I went for. I went for Ice Beam, thinking, okay, if I kill this, then all I need to do is break Mimikyu's Disguise and kill Thundy, and then I win. So basically, as soon as Sand ends, Dugtrio can come in, and whatever Dugtrio, because his best ways of dealing with Dugtrio are either breaking its Sash with the Thundy, and then dying to a Stone Edge. And this is disregarding Excadrill and Sand, because I'm saying when Sand ends, because this Milotic will be able to stall out Sand at some point. He'll have to either waste his Disguise with Mimikyu by setting up 2 SDs in a row, or he'll have to go, or Excadrill will be able to, or not Excadrill, Dugtrio will able to go down to Sash from whatever move Thundurus goes for and take it out with the Stone Edge. So if I went for recovery here, I believe I did have the game locked up, but unfortunately I just get greedy and go for an Ice Beam, hoping to take this thing out. It's a 30% roll with my opponent's investment. Well, not 30% roll. It's a 30% for him to live, 70% for me to kill. With no HP investment, the roll is like 99%, something like that, for me to kill. So I was thinking, okay, I'll just take him out here. And oftentimes, a lot of Landorus's coverage is special, so he might even be naive. So I go for Ice Beam. He lives on 1, and now I've pretty much lost the game, because Scarf Thundurus plus Excadrill, and he still has Sand up, and Milotic was my best way of dealing with Excadrill and Mimikyu, and those mons now just kind of beat me. So I'll just let this game play out. There's a little bit of more hacks in the end, but it doesn't really matter since Scarf Thundy is still cleaned up. I kill this thing with Reversal. He goes into Gigalith, sets up the Sand again. I take him out with an EQ, and now Sandro can just kind of win, because he is a balloon set, which props to him for bringing that. That's a really cool set. I guess I should have scouted Rock Slide there and gone to P2, but P2 being at 71% right now, I do trace the Sand Rush so I don't get hit by Sand, but if he's like an Adamant Life Orb set, he still 2 KOs me, and obviously Hoopa wasn't the play either there, because then I just sack my win con. But maybe I should have tried to make my Dugtrio my win con, because once Sand runs out, somehow, if I like get to stall this Excadrill out with a million recovers for my P2, once Sand runs out and my P2 has its Sash, it can take out either Thundy or Mimikyu, and then Hoopa can clean up once either one of those is down. But unfortunately, I made the wrong play with my Milotic, so I can't stall out the Sand anymore. He gets a couple Iron Head flinches here, which is really unfortunate, because now Hoopa is going to be taking damage from the. Because now Hoopa is going to be taking damage from the X drill as well, but it didn't matter since all 3 of his mons just lived a hit and killed at that point. Because he was in fact Scarf Thundy. So he goes into Mimikyu. He ends up not having Shadow Sneak, which is interesting because I have a Dugtrio, but he ends up not having Shadow Sneak, but he takes me out with the player off anyway. And that's our match against Magick. I definitely I made some bad plays there, not recovering with Milotic, but there was a lot of hacks in that game either way. I think if I hadn't gotten any of those hacks, like the double flinch on P2, or the super low roll on Ice Beam, I would have been in a better position, but my opponent still could have won either way. Like, the game could have gone either way if my opponent hadn't hacked me, but I guess that's just the game we play. I mean, I would have preferred a better game and a more, like, legit, and I think I speak for Magick as well, that he would have preferred a more legitimate win, but such is life. So hopefully I can bring you a more fair match and a better played game next week. I feel like my prep was really solid this game, but I didn't go for recover on my Milotic, which I think was my downfall. I was just afraid of him getting a free switch into Thundy, predicting my Milotic set, but oh well. I felt like Landorus is too important for him to sack off like that. It wouldn't have been a sack anyway if I hadn't gotten the look, and it would have been a sack if I'd gotten the right roll, but I don't know. So, good game to Magick. Next week we play PokeTCG Gamer, who I don't know much about, but I do have heard from a friend that he was tearing up the CPC offseason for a while, so very formidable opponent. I help a friend with Jake, his name is, with team building a lot of the time, and he lost twice to PokeTCG Gamer, so it's going to be pretty difficult winning, but I feel like my draft is good enough to get it done, and I'm going to have a lot of time this weekend to build, because I actually got my wisdom teeth taken out today, which is why my video might be going up a little bit later than most people from the NPL Minors. So look forward to that. Matches will be going up every Thursday, so that'll be fun. I'm excited to be in this league. I know we're starting off 0-1, but I still think we made a statement. I think anyone who watches the battle can easily see that, like, I didn't lose in the most crushing way. Obviously, the hacks had a big component in it, and the game could have gone either way if there was no hacks involved. So, definitely, we're still considered a threat in this league. Another thing I do have to point out, that this is actually Stunfisk's first loss on a drafted NPL team. No, it doesn't really matter because it's in minors, but yeah. I asked the owner of Stunfisk, Zazo, in the NPL if this match mattered for Stunfisk's record, and he said no. So its name is still clear in the NPL. So, all right, guys, I'll see you next week. Having fun in this league so far. I think my draft's fun to build with. I think Hoopa-U is still really great, and I'll see ya. Bye.